Okay, why is revolution no longer possible despite the ever greater gap between the rich and the poor? So the whole question here hangs around the gap and whose desires are being fulfilled and to what extent. But the thing is, if that's all you're looking after, or that's all that you are struggling for, like lifting poor people's life, or bridging the gap between the rich and the poor, then I think you are going to find that it is increasingly impossible to mobilize people against the system on this basis, and I'll tell you why. I mean, you might be able to mobilize it, but if you want people to make sacrifices on a sustained basis, that won't work, and here's why. The gap between the rich and the poor mature capitalism, that's increasing. But there is still a room or always opportunities for a lot of people, a large number of people, for upward mobilization through education, through working hard, etc. So it's not just poor and rich, but there's a middle in between. And for any system, if there is enough number which are up here, so if you are committed to fulfilling your desires, and if a critical mass of population thinks that they are either fulfilling their desire to a certain extent, or if they work harder, they can fulfill them. If they have that hope, and if they are incapable of making sacrifices to the extent, then just the gap between rich and poor is not going to unsettle the system on its own. And very poor are not going to make revolution. They can hardly, stand on their feet. It's people here that make revolutions, and if they are committed to this pursuit in one way or another, and they think that they are, they have a possibility of upward mobilization, upward mobility in relative terms. If the critical mass of people think that they have that opportunity, then if that opportunity is not as fantastic as it used to be, then you're not going to be able to agitate people against the system, especially when it involves making sacrifices on the basis of making their life better, for example. These are the answers which I gave speculatively. Now he is going to give his own answer. An explanation required first to understand how power and the rule function today. Okay, but probably we'll see that. We'll get to that in the next section, inshallah. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك وصلي وسلم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم صلى عليه. سبحان ربنا ربك العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين.